Hi, my name's Richard Merritt, and I'm here at New Hampshire Hostas and Companion Plants. And today we're going to talk about companion plants for hostas. We're going to show you some things in both here at New Hampshire Hostas, where I'm standing in the parking lot right now, but mostly at Sherry's gardens, where you've seen us film before. Sherry's got a terrific collection of companion plants that start very early in the season, from the first snowdrops and crocus that come up to the Helleborus and Primrose and just all sorts of things. So a lot of native woodland plants like bloodroot that she's got, and trilliums. And but first I want to tell you some of the reasons why we plant companion plants. Obviously, the most important one is probably to extend the season, as well as to complement the hostas themselves, to break up the look. We've done other videos on ferns, which are terrific companion plants, but they're during the summer. Today we're going to show you a lot of things that are early companion plants. And I think one of my favorite things is that they extend the season. You're so eager to see something in the garden after the snow fades away, and when the first snowdrops pop up virtually through the snow, and then crocus shortly after that, you really appreciate them. Whereas you might see the same plant in the middle of the summer when everything's blooming, you just say, that's not so exciting. But when it comes up really early, you really appreciate it. So we're here in Sherry's garden. We've filmed twice, 3 weeks apart. The first shots you're going to see are the last week of April, and then you'll see a big transition into the second week of May, when there's a lot more growth showing. So one of the plants that you'll see in Sherry's garden that she's very fond of are the Helleborus. One of the better attributes of them are that they last for quite a long time in the garden. So not only are they coming up very early, well before the hosta are out, but they're also lasting long into the growing season. There are a lot of native wildflowers, such as bloodroot, that are great companion plants. They come up very early, well before the hosta, and extend your growing season. Another thing that comes up early are the spring flowering bulbs like crocus, daffodils, tulips. Another thing that we saw when we first showed up at Sherry's garden in the last week of April was a flicker sitting on the lawn. For those of you who don't know what a flicker is, they're a member of the woodpecker family, but unlike most of the woodpeckers that feed in trees, the flicker feeds on the ground, and one of their primary foods are ants. Something to shoot for or to achieve in a really fine garden is what I would call succession planting. In other words, there's always something in the garden, and by doing succession planting, you can get a lot more in a small space. So here's a shot that's showing you on the right-hand side, the very first thing that would have come up are the crocus, and the flowers aren't there, but the crocus leaves are still there. And then the plant that's blooming right now are the native bloodroot, but there's also, on the left-hand side of the picture, columbine that will be blooming in mid-spring, and then the shoots coming up in red are a very beautiful peony that will be blooming during the summer. So in this one little space, you've got 4 plants growing in harmony together. Here are 2 anemones, white in the foreground, the yellow in the background, that are also great companion plants. One of the early companion plants that are Sherry's favorites are the Primrose, because of their early and heavy floral displays. These lavender flowers are a Japanese primrose. These yellow primrose are called English cowslips. I'd just like to say in closing that I hope this was helpful. And here's some shots of companion trees, Japanese maples, which come in reds and greens and yellows. And another thing that we don't have a shot of today, but magnolias are great in the garden, although Sherry doesn't like magnolias as much because the roots are competitive. The Japanese maples are not. But on the left-hand side in the background here, you can see a crabapple, which is in full bloom and adding color to your garden. So thanks for listening, and happy gardening.